everybody? We're going to dive right in today. I had some notes prepared on, maybe a small short training I can get into. I'm more than happy to start there. I think a lot of the insights will be valuable for anyone here, but then also want to just honestly turn it over and do some open Q&A. If you guys have anything specific you want me to answer for you, that's what I'm here to do. So, as a friendly reminder for some people who are maybe a little bit newer here on this call, what we're going to be covering specifically is client acquisition, how you grow, get more clients, make more money, more profit, more impact. Obviously, all things important when you're running a business. So some of the lessons that I'm going to share today are things I personally learned in our business at Prospecting on Demand when I joined up with Alex probably 5 years ago at this point. The coaching program was doing anywhere between $15,000, $20,000 a month. Fast forward to today, we're doing anywhere between $150,000 to $200,000 a month. So we've 10x'd the company in that time. We're really just grateful to be and have such an amazing community around us. And a lot of those lessons can translate into what you are doing, whether you are running an agency, a SaaS offer of some kind, a coaching program, you're trading your time and expertise for money. All of these are relevant. So I'm going to share some notes that hopefully will resonate with some of you. Just a little bit of a training, and then we'll get into open Q&A. And if no questions come up for you as we're going through this, and if you don't have questions, be prepared. I will call on you. I'm not going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs. I'm going to extract from you what you're hoping to learn and get out of this. Okay, so we'll break the ice a little bit. I'll do some training first, and then we'll get into open Q&A. Let me go to my notes here. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to get started. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, so hopefully it's easy to see. These are not in a perfect order. I might bounce around a little bit, but these, when I hosted one of our private client calls last week on scaling, right? How do you scale a company? Now, I'm going to be really blunt with you guys for a second. I'm actually going to stop sharing so I can look at you and I say this. If you aren't at a place where you're already making $10,000, $20,000 a month in the business, you might not be ready to scale, which is okay. Still, some of the advice that I'm going to give you today will help. When I say scaling, this is really like, hey, I've got my offer figured out, my audience figured out, I'm selling pretty consistently. How do I double, triple, 5x this business? Versus if you're kind of still finding your groove, you should be 100% dialed in and focused on acquisition. Anything else outside of that, anything that is not a revenue generating activity where you are actively trying to book conversations with your ideal clients, is probably not a good investment of your time right now. And I'll just maybe start with this. It might be a little bit not a shock, but just the coaching you need if you're in a place where I know a lot of people in the SaaS game are really hoping that, hey, I can get a large volume of people just to come to my thing and sign up. The reality is, selling any new product at first is going to require some one-to-one. I want to have the option to have a high ticket service as well. It's going to be easier to get to the revenue numbers and financial and time freedom quicker, so you can make better decisions and focus all in on your business if you're sort of side hustling with it right now. But I digress. I just wanted to say that first. Let's dive into some of the notes and things that I've learned in 10xing POD with Alex Schlinsky and the crew over the past couple of years. So if you do nothing else except double your price and increase the minimum commitment and time you are asking from people, you will make a big difference in your business. Now, I want you to actually be able to justify that, right? You can't just 2x your price for no reason, but are you providing enough value to justify it? And then is it in the best interest of your clients to commit for a longer period of time? And it doesn't maybe have to even be 2x, but a lot of people are out there just charging $1,500, $2,000 a month for their service, or maybe $300 to $500 a month for their SaaS, and asking like, hey, just sign up month to month or sign up for 3-month minimum. If you just start asking for 6-month commitments, one, you can always negotiate back to 3 months as a love it or leave it sort of frame, and people will look at that like a deal, or like, yeah, 3 months is way better than 6 months, and cool, you can have them up 3 months anyways. You'll be surprised how many people commit to the 6 months. And then also the increase in price, right? I'll talk about that in a little bit in more depth here in a moment. I just want to show you something else that might be helpful in terms of how can you get people to commit to a price or commit longer term. Like, how can we frame that in the best possible way? Of course, should be in the benefit of the person you're selling to. So for example, if you're selling SEO, you should probably be selling 6 months absolute minimum, or 12 months even more ideally. But here's another kind of version you can use of this, where especially you SaaS folks, if you're selling month to month, you got to require those people who are paying month to month to pay not only a bit more, but probably also even potentially a startup fee, because it is the upfront investment of your time to get it running, right? Versus you can ask someone to commit to a loyalty rate, 6 months, 12 months, and then they immediately get a little bit of a break on the price, or not a little bit. In this case, it's $800. It's pretty drastic. It might not be that drastic for you. And then no startup fee, because you know the lifetime value of this client here on the right is far greater than the one on the left, typically. You almost want to disincentivize. I don't know which way is the right way to say that. Not great at my vernacular. I'm going to just screw it up even more by trying to say even more complicated words. I don't know. You know what I'm saying here. This is really important, where you can now kind of reframe the benefit of committing longer term. And again, if you don't do anything else other today than just take away like increasing your price and the minimum ask, this will pay dividends in your business long term. And frankly, this is one of the keys in POD, where we went from a $9,000 even lower. I think it was like $7,500, $8,000 when I was starting for 3 months, to now a $15,000 to $20,000 6-month minimum program, where now we can impact our clients in a much bigger way, and it allows you to provide more value for them when you are charging a premium price tag versus trying to compete on price and be the cheapest. You get to provide the extra experience. How do you validate and justify increasing your price? Great question. So what I like to say is I want my clients to try to realize at least a 3-to-1 ROI in their investment with me, right? So if they're going to spend $1,000 a month on my business, I want to ideally be making them back at least $3,000. And even better, if you can get validation of that, we have clients who literally have access to their clients' QuickBook and invoices accounts, so they can see which clients come in and match that against leads and actually tell them what their real ROI is in working with them. That's probably a little bit down the road for some of you here, but also important to consider. But we can play with this. It doesn't have to be perfect math, right? But if you are charging $1,000 a month for your service and your clients are constantly netting $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 plus a month from your service, there is massive margin in there for you to increase your price based on the end value you are bringing the people you serve. So that's how you can justify the price increase. But you got to make sure you can do that, right? And if you're at the beginning and you're trying to learning what the actual real value of what you can deliver is, it's okay to start on the lower end of the spectrum, charge a bit lower, and when you figure out what your value is, you can increase that over time. Cool. The idea of staying power, building equity in a direction. This is really important for you to just, doesn't mean you have, when you pick a niche, you have to marry it forever and only do that, never anything else. But it does mean that once you start to get your acquisition systems in place, where you're doing outbound prospecting, you're running ads, you're booking consistent sales calls, and you're fulfilling consistently for clients, the more you can distill that into 1 or 2 key deliverables for one audience is going to make a huge difference. The more you complicate it, the more you will cripple your ability to scale. So having staying power in an industry, in a direction, and in an offer creates equity, air quotes, equity, long term in a direction. And it's super valuable, because over time, you then earn your way by just being there for the amount of time that you have. You earn your way into the, air quote again, rooms, maybe literal and figurative, online, offline, with the bigger clients, the people that you can not only make a bigger impact on, but that are willing to pay the premium as well. So this is really important to focus in on a direction and don't veer unless, again, some drastic things changes up the industry. Example right now would be in real estate. It's not an amazing time to run a real estate agency because of what's happening in the industry, but that's a dramatic example. This isn't always going to be true for most industries. Cool. Focus on one main offer. I kind of talk about this. Stop chasing what everyone else in the market is doing, especially all you SaaSpreneurs. I love all of you, but there are so many features you can provide with high level. You need to distill it. The more things that your offer has creates more confusion in how you express and explain the value on a sales call, and more friction in the fulfillment and delivery of the product, especially if the user is doing it themselves and you expect them to plumber to just come in here and start using all the features of high level. You are joking with yourself. It's not going to happen that way. So focus on 1 or 2 key core aspects of what you can do for someone and focus in on that. Now, what we coach is having what we call a strategy partner offer, which essentially is twofold. It's 1 part SaaS, so having some sort of high level component. Typically, the most obvious thing is going to be lead nurturing and lead tracking, right? So you're getting leads and they're being dumped into the system. Cool. Number two is going to be some sort of lead generation component where you are feeding that system leads, whether that's Facebook ads, Google ads, SEO, there's all outreach, there's all kinds of different mediums you could generate opportunities for your clients. But again, pick the one that is going to best serve the industry you're focused in on. I was just on a call today with a client and she was expressing how Facebook ads aren't working as well for her niche as they used to. And I had suggested, hey, Google ads is going to have a lot higher intent leads for this niche in particular. And she had expressed, well, but a year ago they were working. And I'm like, hey, there's no doubt that Facebook ads could work and could get results and have gotten results in the past. But there's also a really good chance that Google is going to get better results and be easier, right? So just again, this idea of just because you've committed to one thing or been doing something one way for so long doesn't mean you don't have the ability to change and grow and adjust that direction. But again, don't sell everything under the sun. It'll create complexity in selling, create complexity in fulfillment and your outreach, and just creates a huge headache that makes it very, very, very difficult to scale. Okay. This is also an important one. You are not an order taker. There needs to be a service level agreement that clients adhere to. And what this looks like is what a lot of more towards the beginning of their journey, agency owners, SaaSpreneurs, et cetera, myself included, do is you create a bunch of mini bosses with your clients because you have this intimate relationship with them or a toxic relationship with them where they have access to your personal cell phone. They're calling you, they're texting you, maybe communicating even disrespectfully at inappropriate times. You need to really, on the front end of a relationship, lay out clearly in a contract, your service level agreement is what we call it. I don't like to do proposals. Have something already written out. What is the communication expectation? Where can they communicate with you? What is appropriate? What is not? I'm totally fine if my clients, when we develop a relationship, they want to text each other and talk about personal stuff offline. But if you want to talk to me about business over your phone, I'm going to always redirect you back into the main channels because that's where the team can see it and where we can help them best, not just in this vacuum in a personal capacity where they think it's okay to use, again, my cell phone as a medium for communication around things that might not even be that critical, right? So this is important to make sure you define what your communication expectations look like and should be, and then make sure clients are held accountable to that. And if you don't define it, they will define it for you. There's a classic kids book that I like to read to my daughter all the time called "If You Give a Moose a Muffin." We have different versions, like if you give a mouse a cookie, if you give a dog a donut. Regardless, the idea is they keep wanting more. They're going to get more and more and more. So you got to be careful to not give a moose a muffin, or they'll end up living on your sofa. Not really, but I think you know what I'm saying. All right, cool. One of the best, most scalable things we've done in POD, and still to this day, our number one source of new business. And frankly, for anyone here who is like just banging their fist on, I'm SaaS only, I'm not going to sell anything other than SaaS, then you really need to have Dream 100 opportunities. What Dream 100 means is, to me, where you are identifying not only dream clients, but specifically for everyone here, dream referral sources. You want to be able to sell your product, especially if it's lower ticket, one to many. So what does this look like? Groups, niche specific groups and associations. Could be niche specific masterminds. It could be maybe a influencer or podcast or YouTube channel that is popular in your space. Where are people who already have pools of customers who you can best serve, and how can you gain a referral partnership with them? One of my favorites is complementary service providers. Partnering with other types of software companies, maybe they don't provide marketing, but provide a different service, or even just manufacturers of devices and products and services that your clients also buy. Some of our clients who work in medical, their best referral partners make medical equipment, right? They make cool sculpting machines, red light, laser therapies, all the crazy stuff I don't even know what the hell they are. It doesn't matter because those people have access to hundreds of doctors' offices around the country, and they're looking for good referral agency partners to send clients their way. So when you can establish these types of relationships long-term, they pay dividends. And again, it helps when you have staying power because you build those relationships over time. And frankly, communities like this, Extendly, High Level, they have been partners in the POD ecosystem for 3 years now. I think Extendly is more like a year and a half. High Level's been there back since we did our first events in 2020. And we've had long-lasting relationships with them where we will trade referrals, trade spotlight sessions, invite them onto our show. We come into their group. So these kind of relationships you build long-term, but have been a key to scaling. Again, that's what we're talking about. Here's some scaling keys that got POD from $15,000, $20,000 a month to $150,000, $200,000 a month. All right. pretty obvious when I say it, but hire's just smarter than yourself, right? And how you do this long term is you can earn this through Dream 100 because you now know who are the cream of the crop in your industry, who are the best of the best that you can bring in. And a lot of times you're not going to just find those people on a hiring site or on a placement service, right? They're going to be veterans in the industry who you will connect with just by doing things. So, for example, in our program, we have a number of coaches who I would consider are much more gifted than me in certain subject matters that they're focused on: ads, Avery on scaling, Jennifer Thompson around offers. And we were able to meet them through our community and through our Dream 100 opportunity, just the people that we know. And again, focusing in a direction, building staying power, building equity. People like the program. These coaches that we've brought on, like, oh, I've been following you guys for years. I love what you're doing. I'm so excited to be a part of this because they've heard of us. We're not just flash in the pan. So again, staying power will earn you these types of relationships over time. Okay, cool. This is important. This is one a lot of you are probably not doing, and I get it, but this is key. If you want to grow, that's what we're talking about. How do I grow? How do I scale? You need to let go of the hard shit in your business. What is hard shit? Hard shit is having relationships with every single client and money related conversations. So things like if you're having to retain clients that are, maybe at risk of failing, or you're taking every single sales call indefinitely forever, or you're trying to have a relationship with every single client. Like, these are some of the hard things that we hold very close and don't think anyone else can do better than us. I want to call bullshit on that. There are a lot of people who are a lot better and are equal to, if not just maybe slightly worse, which is okay, who can help you do this stuff. But if you're trying to take this all on your own back, stop doing that. You cannot scale that way. And how we coach this, as I zoom out for a second, is I like to coach that number one thing you always delegate first is the fulfillment of the product. So whatever the client bought from us, how can I already have a team in place? Ideally not out of pocket, but you know what those costs are going to be. What's extending onboarding cost? What's my white label partner cost? Okay, cool. These are my expenses. And you bake that into the cost of your service so you're not going out of pocket, but you immediately focus on delegating the fulfillment of your product and service off of your plate. You then focus all your time on acquisition. That means prospecting and sales. The second thing you then delegate is prospecting. So this could be some media buyer to run your ads, and or a prospecting VA, appointment setter to help like pick up some of the phone calls. You're still doing sales though. Sales is the final thing that you then delegate. This might be a 6 month, 12 month, 2 year long process to really figure this out and dial it in. But your appointment setters, if you hired and help for prospecting, they may be elevated over time. So just again, starting to like ask yourself, what are the things that you're just getting stuck in your business? What is the hard shit you're not letting go of for whatever reason? And have that hard internal conversation with yourself about, is this actually the right way to do it? All right, cool. This is not that. I mean, it's important. Probably not necessary for everyone here on the call, but we invest a lot of money. Last year, I think we spent over $250,000, so $250,000 on consulting and done for you operations. We are spending even more here in November, just because here's the truth. You have to accept what you don't know. I went to college for business like management, right? And I dropped out in my third year because my business started to make money. And I felt like I wasn't learning what I actually needed to, or to actually get my business off the ground. Because again, at the beginning of your business, it's all about acquisition. It's all about bringing money and figuring out what works and running with it, not the actual operation. So it's interesting if I went back through that now, with a different lens, what I would get out of it. But because I don't have that skill set, we're investing heavily in it. I am not ignorant to believe I know how to run the flawless operations of a company, right? We have a client named RepStack. The way in which they run their company is awe-inspiring. It is at another level where you look at them like, wow, they have all their shit together. And it may seem like that on the outside, and I'm sure it's chaotic on the inside sometimes. But just investing in operations and your weaknesses, frankly, right? This goes back to the team, like hire smarter than yourself, investing in the team and not just building overseas talent. No offense to anyone, but build a community of people who are like your clients and who are really bought in and interested in building this thing. You can build a team overseas, no doubt. Depending on kind of where you are, overseas could mean different things. But I almost always recommend for client-facing positions or prospect-facing positions, have someone like the people that they are serving, right? difficult. And, I'll be blunt for a second, but let's just say you're working with blue collar contractors in Southern America, might not resonate so much with someone who has, an accent overseas. And is that biased? Sure, but it's the reality. And again, people like themselves. So you need to be considering who you're hiring for some of these key roles who are client facing. All right, cool. Critical. If you're only half listening, don't. But seriously, this is key. All right. Why clients leave. You need to understand this intimately. If you do not know why clients are churning, and if you are just accepting it and rolling over and then going about your business, you are never going to grow, because you need to fix your retention issues if you want to scale. The normal retention and a healthy retention rate for most businesses, as I delete everything, is 15%. So that means if you have 100 clients, on average, you're probably going to lose 15 a month. So you need to get 15 back just to maintain growth, right? But again, if we're talking like you only have 10 clients, then 15% is like 1.5, maybe 1 to 2 clients you could churn every single month. So you have to get 1 or 2 just to maintain, let alone 1, 2 plus to grow. So understanding why they actually leave is key. Is it a mismatch of expectations? Is it they're feeling like they have to do X thing and that wasn't clear? It's almost always a mismatch of expectations, right? Or you being ignorant to the result they're actually getting and pretend just, okay, the leads are good enough, we're not going to have a conversation, I'm going to close my eyes and hope the credit card hits. You got to get deep with your clients and understand what is working. And again, be a strategy partner. Don't just be a lead vendor or another random service provider who's competing for the best guarantee or the lowest price. Be involved. And this over time, again, is why you build staying power in industry, because then you know the problems and you can communicate them and help them overcome them even quicker and retain them and validate your value and justify your value. So again, you need to be asking them, you need to have the hard conversations. If the person who left was a total jerk and there's no way to salvage that, and like, why, like, what's the point? Okay, I get it. Like, but if you leave on professional, amicable terms, like, hey, it's just not working out for us, we want to go, you got to understand why. What happened? What went wrong? What can you fix next time? And something I dropped as a little bit of a bonus, our last call we did with the Anti-Hustler Weekly show, was clients around this time of year who are leaving, it might be worthwhile to offer them a little bit of a temporary discount for a month or two to either, one, maintain them during a slow season, or prove to them that this can work for them if you feel that. If the results of their campaign are so far off, like, not going to happen, okay, we might just have to let them go. But if we're confident we can turn this around, know what your fulfillment costs are and what your minimum you can do business for. This is a really great, effective way to retain clients who may be out the door for a bit longer, to dial in what the issue is, right? And to get and overcome that, not only for them, but future clients as well. Building on that, you need to understand what the next step is for clients' needs and wants. Maybe a client gets what they need in working with you. What is the next thing? What is not? I don't like the terms downsells and upsells. You could use those if that's what you want. But for example, in POD, we understand a lot of clients might outgrow or graduate the service at some point. What offer do we have to retain them? We have a community offer around there that's a little bit lower price, lower access for them. Or some people, they want more, they're scaling, I need more one-on-one attention. Okay, we have a program for that, it costs more, but now we can do weekly one-on-ones, right? We know what the things are and the triggers are of why our clients stay and why they leave, and we're optimizing for that, and we have specific products and offers for them as we know those points are coming up. For you guys, it's probably going to be a downsell to your SaaS only thing. Or maybe if you're entering a slow season, you do client and database reactivation, not marketing. Then during the busy seasons, you pick up marketing again. So just a couple things to consider how to navigate the ebbs and flows of the people you serve. And again, building on top of staying power. You know this more by building equity in a direction. And last comment here, again, the idea of letting go of hard shit and just being okay to say no more often to good, air quotes, good, so you can make room for great. That might mean saying no to clients who are going to be a pain in the ass, but you're just trying to take the money because you, air quotes, think you need the money right now. Maybe you do. It might mean you need to supplement your income by doing something else temporarily. There's no shame in that. But a lot of us will say yes to so many good things, we never actually get to achieve great because we stay stuck down here playing in good, right? And this could be just an okay offer. This could be just an okay niche or okay client. This translates into your teammates, what you're committing your time to. There's so many different examples of what this looks like, but I think it's an important point to end on. So I just spoke with you guys for like 20 minutes straight. Hope it was valuable. Everyone's still here hanging out. So I know that was helpful. If you mind dropping a 1 in the chat for me, if that was valuable, if you liked that, if you hated it, you can say nothing. That's okay. I'll just cry after the show. Just kidding. Cool. So Dennis, George, and Sean just hated it. Hurt. I'm just kidding, guys. It's all good. If you're half listening, it's all good. But just use your time more effectively. I love you, but just if you want to go do something, do it. But let's go to Q&A now, and I'm going to call you guys out. If you didn't drop a 1, I want to know why. So, just messing with you, Sean. You know me by this point. I'm all just my love language is sarcasm. So, what I want to do now is I'm going to turn the mic over to you guys. You're more than welcome to share any takeaways or thoughts you had on this as we're going through, or just questions you have about your business. Anything is game. If no one speaks up or feels compelled, I will call on you. So I'll open the mic. I'll stop talking for a second. Otherwise, I'm going to call on some people.
Hey, this is Sean. So, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great.
So I've gone through the kind of up and downs. When I first started, I was getting a lot of referrals. So even though I've been in here now, what is this? Maybe 8 months, I think.
Sure.
When I first started, I got a bunch of people that just came in, maybe around close to 10 people that came in, and it was all referrals. So I still to this day, I still never marketed myself, but I've learned in the process that people will come in, some people will come in and then they would churn out like in a month, or in 2 months. And basically it was a couple of reasons. One was that I didn't go after them. So I didn't go after people that were the right fit. So it was people that kind of, referred, thought this was going to be something that they could pay a little bit of money, and I would basically fulfill everything and get everything done for them. And they would be, making tens of thousands of dollars after spending maybe $297 a month, and that's it. So it didn't work that way. And so right now, what I'm doing is kind of trying to revamp my platform. So, and then I've learned from it though. So I'm trying to revamp different things.
We all do it first, man. We all hear it and know the answer, but we all do it and learn the hard way, and then we figure it out.
Yeah. So I'm trying to revamp things now to kind of pick the right people first of all, and then expectations as well, and go through that process. So what you were just speaking about was amazing, because it was all right up my alley in terms of the pitfalls that I've dealt with. I checked off all those boxes in terms of things I did wrong. So
I wouldn't know the lessons if I didn't make the mistake myself.
Yeah, is a question I have. Is there at any time, or do you guys do personally or anything? I'm revamping my platform to be a better kind of overall selling platform. Is there any time that I can, when I feel it's finished, be able to present that to you, for you to kind of tell me, well, hey, good and bad, right and wrong?
I mean, I'm happy to do open Q&A here with anyone else. Tim, George, Michael, if they have questions, but if we have some time, Sean, I'm more than happy to look at that on this call. It shouldn't take us too long. Since it's probably a little bit more involved. Let me see if there's any other questions I can knock out.
No, I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't do it now. And I think I'm quite ready to do it now.
No, I think my feedback, I can honestly do it really quickly. So, I'm pretty good. I've been doing this way too long that to not be able to look at a deck and very quickly help you diagnose it. Let me open the mic real quick, because I know, like I said, it just might be a little bit more involved than other questions someone else may have. So Tim, George, Michael, I'm going to open the mic for you guys. Any questions you have, I'm happy to get into it. And otherwise, we'll do this deck audit with Sean.
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Mike. So pretty much, I heard you say like 15% was the average churn rate, and that's like all recurring membership models, or that's in agencies, or
great question. Yeah, so to clarify specifically, that's for marketing agencies. For SaaS, typically the churn rate will probably be a little bit lower, again, if it is dialed in. This is looking at an ideal number, not what everyone has as an average. Most people are probably way worse. They don't even know what the number is, though.
Okay. I'm a little surprised by that for SaaS, at least, just because I'm actually from the gym background, so I know all about that, and kind of been using High Level for the last 5 years for my gym, and I just literally just started to create my own agency like a couple weeks ago. I'm very good in the inside of it, but I'm starting to learn the business side of this now
Sure.
a little bit more. So I'm trying to understand the attrition rate. Like for me, I would never leave as a gym. Like I have a couple of gyms in New York. I would never leave my CRM because I didn't know any better, to be honest. So
Sure.
I guess my agency did a good job of that, though.
Yeah, and again, I think it depends on what you're selling because there's so many different versions of what high level could be, right? I think the help yourself version of it, like Sean was, I think, expressing here a little bit. I believe Sean, based on what I know, like it was kind of a self help, like not self help, like in the typical sense, like come into this platform, kind of use what you can. Is that fair to say?
What's that in terms
Like
of
your
like
offer initially was like, here's the high level tool. I'm going to sell you into it and then go use it yourself. Essentially, here's some
no,
snapshots.
actually no, that was actually not the thing that
Cool.
got me to hot water was, hey, come on in, and I'm gonna kind of
You're gonna
like
do, you
take
did
you
you did
on.
you took on you went the opposite route. You did too much.
Yeah, I was
Gotcha. Yeah.
taking
So there's a happy balance for sure.
yeah, I was taking on everything for them, and it was I was slammed, and they weren't really paying anything. So
Sure. So yeah, Mike, like if you can get a gym to sign up on your CRM because they don't know any better and they sign up and they use it partially, sure, they may stay forever. But if it's too convoluted, then they don't really know what they're getting out of it. At a low price point, maybe they'll ignore it. But if you want to get to higher revenue numbers quicker, it's so much easier to also have a high ticket product and sell something high ticket. There's this common saying that people who pay the least expect the most. So I want to try to maintain premium pricing for what I am selling and a premium fulfillment and service, right? So what Sean was expressing was he actually went the opposite with it, which is what most agency owners do, not necessarily in SaaS only. And they take on way too much for their client. And they're like, I'll do social media, I'll do SEO, I'll do ads, I'll do your website, I'll pet your cat I'll take care of your cat while you're out of town. What a stupid shit for like a low price. And then you build up this Frankenstein monster, this monster that's unmanageable, right? On the other end of the spectrum, it's too many options creates ambiguity and they don't know what they're paying for and they cancel. So for you, Mike, it's like dialing in and honing in on what do gyms need the most from this? What is one or two core services I could sell at a premium that gyms need? One of the best things, frankly, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the phrase database reactivation. I would go search that phrase here in the Extendly Facebook group. I know you're on the Zoom here, but if you're
Yeah,
in the
of
Extendly,
course. Yeah.
that is something you can sell
You
for
get sales right away for people. Yeah, 100%.
$5,000 to $9,000 over
Yeah, if they have
three
a big
months.
list. Yeah.
And you can roll it out. Like, don't do a one giant blast all at once, but you can roll it out over 3 months and charge a premium like $5,000, $9,000 for that. And then what do they need next? If you're only doing SaaS, it's tough. If you're only doing SaaS, they have to have a consistent flow of leads. Most times small businesses don't have that consistent flow of leads. They're going to also want that. So it behooves you to also have potentially the high ticket service they can buy into as well. And some people may have a CRM that they're married to, like you said, no, I'm like married to this thing and I can't see myself moving away from it without like you dragging me there, kicking and screaming. Okay, maybe then they just need the done for you lead gen service that dumps leads into their current CRM. So you want to be a little bit flexible in the beginning, and then you get rigid once you figure out that lane of what your audience can best benefit from in terms of the tool set and the spectrum of things that high level can offer. Not sure if that answered your question. I maybe got off on a little bit of a tangent, Mike. Apologize, but happy to bring that back if you have any other questions around it.
No, that's all right. That's my plan is to pretty much just not like, and I know how it is, especially with gym owners. You don't want to put too much in front of their face at once, but I feel like if I can build out some nice custom pipelines for prospects, not only prospects but also for nice automations for members for retention.
Yeah,
that's what makes them stay. And like I have some really cool systems built out with MindBody for that, where
nice.
they don't have to even touch the CRM too much, mostly just MindBody and the automations to follow. So that's my game plan with that. I'm just actually, your advice, like what would you charge for something like that, where it's like pretty much just like, I guess like the first month work on them to customize the automations to fit their gym, which wouldn't take too much work. So I have a pretty good snapshot of that, of what I think they need at least.
Okay.
And then like I'm looking just to build monthly recurring revenue pretty much.
Yeah. So tell me again, just rattle off for me the deliverables of the product, like so I know what a fair price
So what I'm thinking right now is obviously, you know, it has a two-way text. It has some basic funnels built around like Black Friday, built around like, you know, your New Year's offer, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like pretty much a funnel for every month, campaign to follow those.
Sure.
And your regular prospect funnel and automation system, and then retention system once they're in and members.
What's a regular prospect and funnel system mean? Like
So
nurturing leads that come through the door?
Yeah, nurturing leads
Gotcha.
from their consultation to their booked first session, and then to their trial, and then to their lifespan, pretty much, really.
Got you. Understood. So I think a challenge you may face, and again, this is why it's important to have the feedback loop on a sales call. If someone's saying no or not buying, understanding why and what else they need. What you just described, correct me if I'm wrong, they would still need an inbound source of leads to come into the funnels, to come into the automations. The back end retention stuff would be helpful for sure. But then it's like, you're kind of selling two different things, and then explaining the value gets a little convoluted, right? You almost need to not have to pick one or the other, just make sure it's a clean explanation of anticipated value, right? How you get to a price point, again, is that 3-to-1 return. So if we can make sure like, hey, our gym owners are making at least, you know, $1,500 a month, maybe not all at once, right? Maybe it's built up over time. Like, hey, by month 6, 8, 12, now it's really coming in consistently month to month. Yeah, $500 a month is not out of the question at all. I would prefer, though, again, to be on the premium end of pricing, closer to $1,000 a month. But in gyms and restaurants, certain industries, there's always going to kind of be this ceiling of what they're willing to actually pay for. One of the most interesting things to come out recently is Zappy Chat. I don't really get too hyped about different softwares, or this or that, but basically, like, in a really, really simple way, using AI to immediately respond to any and all questions people have, and even automatically book leads on a high-level calendar. That's a game changer for a lot of businesses. And frankly, by itself, it could be a $500 to $1,000 a month product. So you really have to look at, based on the things that I'm giving to them, what am I making them in money or saving them in money or time? What is that worth? Ideally, then we're flirting again with that 3-to-1 number. But in SaaS, it could be a lot higher. It could be, frankly, like 10-to-1, because software, again, has this perceived value and ceiling that a done-for-you service doesn't have. And frankly, it does have this ceiling. Without the inbound source of leads, it's only as valuable as the leads you dump into it, too. So I want you to keep in mind, like, don't do yourself and a client a disservice by only selling them the SaaS if they have no lead flow, because then it doesn't matter, right? Maybe then the Zappy Chat chatbot and the integration, the client communication stuff is valuable, but that's then what you focus in on, the ROI, not the money they can make from new members if they don't have that tap they can turn on and off. So
yeah, that makes sense. Good point. Thank you.
Gotcha, man. Happy to. We're here every week hanging out, so bring your questions and I'm happy to answer them. Tim, I saw you on the last call, man. What's going on? Any questions I can answer for you?
So I was going to jump in, my friend. You know, it's funny. I was just at the 7-figure agency down in Miami, and Extendly just gave a presentation yesterday. Seemed like good people.
Extendly, those sluts. Just kidding. I love you guys. You're everywhere. I love it.
Yeah. So
I'm live in their Facebook group, but all good. No one's going to see it, I'm sure. Or I'll get fired. I'm just kidding. I'm part-time coach here. So what's up, Tim?
I hear you. So we're a mature agency, but we're breaking out into a new niche, plumbing. Okay. And I come out of the plumbing world, and we're having a brutal time getting in front of, or myself, because I'm the sales guy, getting anybody to either answer the phone, getting past the CSR and all that stuff. So that's a conversation.
What's the CSR acronym for me? Customer service rep? I guess I just did it for myself. Okay, got you. Okay.
Yeah. So we could talk about that forever. But I guess the question I would have for you, going back to one of the things you touched on, is we have the resources to create podcasts, webinars. We're starting to roll out daily social media. Do you think that's a good way to build some? No?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I wanted to save you a lot of heartache and time. And if you want to see validation and proof of this, you can go to my website, briandowner.com, and go to my blog. I have not hundreds, probably dozens of beautiful infographics, lots of one of like article with I think it was 100,000 words. I was trying to rank for SEO. I was trying to focus so much time and energy on things that would bring people to me and then
Mhm.
see it and buy it and be pre-sold. Frankly, at
Right.
the earlier stages of your journey, you need to do the things you are already doing, which is cool. There's a way to like solve this, but you need to go directly to the people you can best serve and generate
Okay.
sales calls with them. Anything at this point where we haven't really validated or sold the offer too much, or we're still figuring the offer out, anytime we try and create complication in the lead gen process, like let's post to social media, grow our following to a point where people are going to reach out and give us money, or let's build a webinar but run ads to it, then we have to like figure out where people drop off. Was the offer good? Like there's so much
Mhm.
complication that gets added to your funnel. What we coach our clients to do when the budget makes sense to do it, ads is going to be your best friend, right? Because you can put
Yeah.
money into Facebook, people come in with interest and intent to buy, you book sales calls with them. And again, we don't do webinars or anything. We just literally send them to a calendar. We call them out. I can give you the exact ads. Hey, plumbers, let's do it, man. Like this is what we're here to do. Beyond
Yeah.
uh
Cool.
Beyond's paying for the full show. You guys aren't just going to get the
Yeah.
appetizer here. So I literally just rolled this out in our premium program for our clients as ads training. I'm going to show you a couple of examples that are working really well. You can come back to the
Okay.
recording later if you want, or screenshot this, but I want to scroll through 4 of them really quickly to show you the through line. Attention accounting firm owners, damage restoration pros, HVAC business owners, car dealerships. They're calling out the audience and then making a very direct offer, typically speaking to some pain points, agitating some pain, but then just like,
Right.
hey, if you want this solution, go here to this link and book a time on our calendar. And it is a landing page with a calendar. And that is the
Right.
simplest version of a funnel because there's way less variables
Yeah.
to have to measure. And now we're booking calls. Now, if running ads is not in the budget right now, 2 things I would be doing, 2.5, bear with me for a second,
Yeah.
regardless of if you were running ads or not, if you have plumbing connections, past experience, I would be leveraging this idea, what we call the race to revenue, which is essentially
Mhm.
leveraging past connections. Again, I'm going to pull up another SOP here, just so you guys can have, you're going to have it all today. You're going to get it all.
All
Um,
right.
1 second. And I don't want you to solicit your peers or your friends or past connections in the industry, but I want you to at least compile some personal and professional lists you may have around this that have opportunities. And you can reach out. Here's a couple of different frameworks depending on who they are. You might, for
Right.
current clients, it's pretty easy ask. Past clients might need a little bit of a different frame. Stale and old leads, maybe a different frame as well. Now, for your personal and still can be professional, more like acquaintances, like I
Mhm.
would follow this ACA framework we teach, where you acknowledge something they've been up to recently, compliment them, and then you can make an ask. Ideally something that ties into your main ask. So I'm going to just get to that part here. So this could be your personal or professional warm and cold connections, right? So for hot connections, it could be something like, hey, Bob, have a few minutes this week to catch up. Wanted to share something really exciting we're doing with our plumbing partners to help them achieve X. Thought about you since I really value your feedback. Easy. For like more on the warm or cold side, like, hey, hope you and the plumbing business are doing well as we head into the holidays. I thought it'd be because we've got a new exciting project we're rolling out for some plumbing partners and wanted to possibly know if you might know someone who could benefit from this. Have a few minutes to catch up and discuss this week. So to shake the metaphoric low-hanging fruit tree that you have is always the first place, especially if you're well connected in the industry already. Now,
Right.
where do we go if we exhausted all those options? We don't have the budget to run ads. The old school telephone is your best friend. I don't like to do cold calling. It's kind of sucks. What I would do is something I call warm calling. Warm
Okay.
calling is where you send an outreach message somewhere first. Facebook DM, LinkedIn, email. I don't really care. At the end of the day, this is going to sound a little crazy. I don't really truly believe in outbound prospecting, email, Facebook, LinkedIn in a vacuum by itself to be good enough to produce results. I've got some clients who've been doing it consistently for a year or two, and they can book like 20 calls a month from doing it, but they earned that because they were doing it for days, and their VAs and their appointments are doing it for days. If it's something you want to get results from in only a vacuum of waiting for people to get back to your messages, you'll be waiting a long time. So what I recommend you do instead, send those messages, go onto Facebook or email Facebook DM 10, 20 businesses in your niche every single day, and you follow that up with a phone call. Because what you're going to do in that phone call, especially when you get a customer service rep, is you reference that and you speak in this gray area, Tim. This is really important, where you're not going to lie and say, hey, you responded and want marketing services, or you're not going to say, hey, I'm cold calling to sell you marketing services. You're going to say, something to the effect of, hey, Bob, we actually connected on Facebook the other day. Not sure if that rings a bell or if it's the gatekeeper. Hey, I had connected with Bob on Facebook the other day. Not sure who manages that account. I just wanted to follow that note up personally and see if, I could get a hold of the right person who manages that account. And you can kind of speak in this gray area where a gatekeeper is going to want to help connect you with the right person. By the way, if you want to see a bunch of examples live, go ahead, Tim.
How you do that email wise, because that's kind of the journey I'm going down. I'm working off of I've been sending Loom videos via email.
Don't do that. I wouldn't do that. Two
No.
reasons. Are they custom Loom videos?
Yes.
So it's very, very time consuming. One, not very
Yes.
scalable. And two, it's sent with this assumption that they're going to give a stranger their time. Like, put yourself in their shoes. Imagine you get a 5-minute Loom video from a stranger over email and you're in the middle of a busy, chaotic day. You're like, who is the what? I gotta watch a what? Like, I
Right.
always want to ask for permission first. So if you're going to go that strategy, like, hey,
I
would
got
you be
you.
open if I could send you a quick video on some feedback I think could really help improve blah, blah, blah. And if you
I like
already
it.
went to the effort of doing this really high touch outreach, follow up those people with a phone call. Pick up the phone and freaking call them. Hey, Bob, I sent you a video the other week. I wasn't sure if you got that. I just wanted to follow this up personally. I'm going to give you a really good frame we give our clients who do this. One, by the way, key word I could boil this down for you, Tim, is indifference. You need to be indifferent to the outcome. And a really good way is in your tonality, right? So if I throw this here in the chat, it'd be something to, and I wouldn't say it the same way every single time. I'd probably try and figure out the energy of the person I'm speaking to, but like, hey, I'm reaching out because we had actually connected on LinkedIn the other day. I'm not sure if you saw that message. I know you get hit up a lot there. I'm sure personally, I just wanted to reach out and, do this over the phone. So I hope I'm not catching it at a bad time, but basically we work with plumbing companies to send them more jobs. We actually just opened a spot in the blank Dallas area, wherever you're calling to from, for a reliable plumber who can take on more jobs. You look like you got some good reviews online. Are you guys in a place where you could benefit from taking on more jobs, or are you totally maxed out? That's a very indifferent, not pushy, just putting an opportunity out them for them to see if they're even interested in wanting or needing this thing. And a lot of times, frankly, what you're going to get from contractors and plumbers, any blue collar home service industry is, oh no, we're maxed out. We got too many projects. It's not always about more projects for them. It's about being able to cherry pick the best projects and work less on higher value projects. It's like, hey, I get it. Honestly, man, most people we talk to are totally maxed out. But what we do here is we not just bring you more leads and more work, it's bring you higher quality work, right? So our goal is to let you cherry pick the best projects in your area from the prospects we bring you so you can pick the best projects that you want and maybe refer out all of the rest, right? So that's a really important frame because you're going to get that objection a lot. But if you're asking like, Brian, what is the best free way to go acquire clients out that I don't know or have in my network connection? This is it. You message them in some platform and you follow that up with a frame just like that. In our free Facebook group, Tim, where you were in the Anti-Hustler Weekly show, the last show we did, we got, if you go to the search bar, you type in cold call shot line or hot wing hotline or wheel of misfortune, you'll see Alex and I do countless examples of this in a very entertaining way because we punish ourselves for the entertainment of the viewers if we can't book a call. Very often we book calls. We're pretty damn good at this. So I think a good setter should be able to book about 20 to 30% of the people they get on the phone, assuming it's the right person, not a customer service rep, because you might not get past the gatekeeper. But if you got the right person on the phone, you should be booking at least 3 out of 10, if not more, that you talk to, if you're doing this correctly. And again,
this is great stuff, man. It's just hard to get past the CSR is what I'm finding.
So that is why you do the warm call frame. That is why you have to have the vagueness of, hey, I had actually connected with you guys over Facebook. I'm not sure who manages that. I was just wondering if you guys got that message or who's the right person to speak to.
Gotcha.
That is the frame, right? And again, ideally, we do this with lawyers where you ideally want to get the name of the person. Like, hey, Bob and I connected over LinkedIn. I just wanted to follow up that conversation personally.
Gotcha.
What's the best way to get a hold of him? So those are good frames to get past the gatekeeper.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I got you, man. That is what I am here for. Cool. So George S., what's up, man? Any questions you got for me? Just listening in. You're muted. I can't see your face, so I'm gonna assume you're muted or just lost at sea. George. All right, we're good. Charles, do you have any questions for me tonight, sir? You just hanging out?
Just hanging out, man. Figured I'd come say hi.
Well, it's nice to see your face.
So,
I upgraded my mic, by the way. Now I got a nice, sexy
I know
radio voice.
You got
like you.
MV7. Yep.
I don't know. It looked pretty. It looked pretty. And I had my last one was like had an awkward, ugly bar. Anyway, I just need to step it up, right? I do these calls all day long. I need to have some good audio. Sean, you, my friend, waiting very patiently. You wanted me to.
I'm not gonna jump on the site stuff today. I'll wait another time to do that. But the question is, another question is, if I'm doing, for instance, let's say SaaS, and I wanted to get subscribers in, you're suggesting that the best way to go with that would be ads? That would be the best route to go? Or
okay. Sorry, I'll let you finish the question. I got excited. Go ahead, finish the question.
Yeah. and Charles would probably know this one too. But
I already know where he's going to go with this. I
already know. Yeah. Okay.
I already know. So
okay. Maybe. So I'll leave it at that. I guess you guys, especially cool. Charles, can probably finish it. But yeah.
It totally depends on the lifetime value of your customers, because just frankly, if you're marketing on Facebook and you're running ads on Facebook, you'll likely get a good cost per lead in most industries is going to be $20 to $40 a lead. Acquisition costs are around, $800 to $1,000 if you're setting appointments at a $300 ish per appointment. Let's say you're closing 1 in 3, $900 or 1 in 4, $1,200 acquisition costs. If your lifetime value of your clients is not at least $4,000 to $5,000, the math isn't going to make sense. Unfortunately, the reality is with lower ticket services, any service in general, you can typically be safe spending up to 20 to 25% of a customer's lifetime value to acquire them. Because obviously the rest 80% is in the fulfillment costs, assuming your other margins are on point. But that's the general math, right? It all comes down to what is your average lifetime value. And then frankly, like most times, SaaS plays don't work well through ads. It's really truly more of a one-to-many format. So if you are all gung-ho, knows nothing else, I'm only doing SaaS, which I do not recommend. I would have a high-ticket service also, because the clients are going to want that. But if that's what you're saying, the answer is you validate it organically first by selling in the way that I just described, and then you immediately, as quickly as possible, you go find referral partners. You need to find someone who has already access to a pool of people where they can refer them to you in mass. The best example of this is going to be a franchise. Not the worst example, but maybe on the bottom of the totem pole, it'd be like niche specific groups and associations. Those can work as well. The sweet spot is complementary service providers who already has a product or service selling to the industry you want to serve that complements what yours does, because their clients are likely asking, hey, I need these things, and they don't have a good referral partner, or they have one that sucks, and you can be that person for them. So that to me is the key with SaaS. If you want to sell one to many, can ads work? Yes, if your lifetime value is on point.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
Was that where you thought I was going with it, Charles? Did you get it right? Nice. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I knew exactly, because ads just don't play into. I mean, that's why we've never run ads, because there's no way to predict. Like he was going over. I mean, you run into all these cost acquisition variables that you really can't predict until the money's already spent. And your lifetime value of the customer, even at $497, even if you're charging, $500 for your SaaS, which is going to be hard to get that running through ads, because now you're playing the price game in ads. It's just not, it's not there. That's why we run an affiliate program, because at least then we know what our actual cost is going to be. We know what it costs to acquire. But to his point, I mean, our number one affiliate, he's over the business development of a lab corporation. They do blood analysis. All he's doing is talking to businesses all day long.
Okay.
So is he my ideal niche? No, I don't want anything to do with medical. But inherently, he talks to a lot of other businesses that aren't medical through networking and all the different things, B&I groups and everything that he's doing. I just let him do his thing. And he's a number one affiliate.
And
so that's where it's at.
And to me, Sean, like getting niche specific is even more important, right? Because that's why you can having a general referral partner, again, depending on how dialed in your fulfillment is in the back end, like that's fine. If your fulfillment is almost zero and what's up, Nick? Nice to see you, man. And you can get them in on the platform, then so be it. But where it's easiest to get this referral partner system like really rolling is where you don't have to explain the value differently to every single person. Let's just say you went like wide, you went to home services like association, like cool, we're going to recommend you plumbers and roofers and solar, and like the way you have to communicate the value and what you do, and then the back end and how you communicate and fulfill on the way they use it, it's different. It creates too much friction, right? So I'm not saying you have to pick a direction, only stick with it. Sometimes you got to follow the money in the beginning of your journey, but this is the way. I just dropped in the chat, and I'll share my screen here real quick. We've been doing this with God, for so long now, so many agency owners. This is truly, and again, based on our new updated ads training, the latest on that information, right? Like in terms of when you're optimizing your ads campaigns, you're looking for about a 0.89 click-through rate. I'm not really worried about you guys knowing about this. We're looking at a $40 cost of like max per lead. Sometimes it's going to be higher when you start, for sure. It might be $100, but this is where we optimize it, right? Application rate, probably 5 to 10% of people will self-book, which you're looking at then about a cost per application or cost per call around $300. And then assuming your close rate is around 20%, 1 in 5, again, you're still looking at in this math, a $1,500 acquisition cost. So if you're not like, if your lifetime value isn't 4x, 5x that, it becomes very, very difficult to run the business. Now, the only asterisk here would be that SaaS has better margins, sure. Still a lot of friction selling one-to-one over ads. An exception could be running some sort of webinar that sells it itself, but you are not far from it. You're not quite there, right? And still probably not the best way to do it, because again, there's so many variables. I would rather have a referral partner who's got a customer list, who's eager to buy the thing that I have, and they just send me business. That is a common denominator of almost all of our multiple 6-figure per month clients who are doing $100, $200, $300,000 a month in their agency. Almost all of them have 1 or 2 amazing referral partners who send them business every single month. It gets their acquisition costs down to zero, basically, because now they have the established relationship and they barely have to sell it. It's like a referral, and you don't have to pay to acquire the customers through ads. So it is the holy grail eventually, but it's earned over time and relationships, frankly. And a lot of the times people want to, with love, and I was the same way, but hide behind our computer and hope that people see the content and they sign up because they like the thing. You got to roll your sleeves up and do the hard work in the beginning, and then even down the road to build the referral partnerships. So that is what I have today. Nick is one of the members in POD, so I'm not going to leave him hanging. He showed up here towards the end of the call, but if you have anything for me, Nick, I'm all ears, man.
I'm recording a voicemail. I just set up the Charles and I were just setting up the go high level workflow for the missed call, text back, and
cool.
To leave a voice message and send text message.
Power dollar. He's going to start doing some calls. Power dollar. And then disposition. We were setting up an automation on the disposition of that call. If it was missed, no answer, voicemail. So that way he's not spending 2 to 3 minutes on the phone that he doesn't have to.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. That's really cool. And honestly, I'm not sure if there's a question built around that, but I just have a quick opinion. Because I've been doing this with a lot of clients recently this week. What Charles just said is an amazing asset to have. If you're in a place though where you think you need that to start to be successful and get results here, and this is not just for Nick, this is everyone here, like you don't need that yet, right? And this isn't really for Nick, this is mostly for everyone else, and not Charles because he's doing with it, but like you don't need that yet. Pick up your freaking phone. You have your own cell phone. If you're not in South Africa or like overseas, you got an American phone number, pick up your freaking phone and call people. Again, sorry, off the podium. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I want to record it though, so that's why I'm doing it through Go High Level.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. Absolutely have it, but don't let anyone else hear that be a friction point for you to get started.
Hey, Charles, those phone calls are automatically recorded, right?
As long as you have it turned on.
Yeah,
and so you would go into the phone number setting and just flip a switch.
Okay, I'll check them out.
Yeah, and by the way, if you guys are doing voicemail drops, I'll drop this, ironically enough, again for you, Nick. I don't know if you could see this frame because you came in a little later. That's a really good frame for really any outreach, voicemail drop, phone call. Like that's I
exactly what I was going to ask you.
I like that language. Read your mind. It's not pushy. It just simply puts it out there. Obviously, you need to add to this a clear call to action to how to get a hold of you. It's you could leave the phone number. I might also jokingly say, hey, you could also just tap on the little red phone number on your phone for the missed call, so I don't have to read off my phone number to you. But like maybe I would joke a little bit. It's tough over voicemail. I would probably try and show some personality, but it's not going to be the thing that massively moves the needle. I would still want to get someone on the phone if possible. That's again the benefit of the power dialer. Sure. You're not going to waste your time with people who aren't picking up. And you got to wait for the freaking ringtone every time.
Well, this is
he
just
set his up with a
just for missed call, busy call, or like a busy call, voicemail, or
no answer.
So
yeah. He's going to send a voicemail, text message, and roll into conversational AI.
Nice.
That way and if they don't ever respond, it goes right back into the call loop.
Gotcha.
Great. We'll call them in a day or two.
Yeah, I love that. Again, guys, like the phone's your best friend. Some people want to ignore this to their detriment. I use the phrase manufacture luck. This is the thing 99% of people are unwilling to do. And you can significantly shorten the sales cycle and manufacture luck by picking up the phone and calling your prospects. When you are in a place in your business and you got more money, you can run ads and pay an appointment setter. This becomes a hell of a lot easier. But if you haven't earned that yet, you might have to roll up your sleeves and do some of the dirty work. So I got to hop off myself, though. Nick, anything else, sir? Hit me up in Slack otherwise.
Hey, Brian,
how about this?
The recording, how do we get this?
Great question. So this should be available in the Extendly Facebook group.
Okay.
Do you have access to that? I can drop a link here.
Yeah, that would be great if you could do that, brother.
Give me just one moment. I'll drop a link. Sorry, Nick, were you starting to say something there?
Oh, no.
Cool.
Just the main reason why you read my mind, literally read my mind. I was looking at what would be the best drop for a voicemail. And
yeah, frame like that's super helpful. Tim, I just dropped the link in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you.
There are things a little weird where it's live right now. I see it live, but it usually takes a couple hours. Sometimes I've seen it take as much as 12 hours to like actually go there. Maybe it's fixed. I don't know. But yeah, you can check out the replay there. We're here, myself and or Alex, every other Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, Tim. So come on, hang out. Sean, George, you as well. Nick, always welcome. But you got access to some of the better stuff too in the main program. But I like seeing your face as well. So hang out here when you want. And I'm going to go hop off, hang out with my daughter, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next one.
Do you want a proven way to increase your lead generation on your website and sales funnels, as well as add an additional revenue stream to your agency? Check out www.chathq.io today and start your free account.